Today I am going to discuss with you polynomial representation in data structure. Now, what do we mean by polynomial? Polynomial in a single variable is something like this, an expression that looks somewhat like this. So you see, there is a variable and there are powers of variable in the expression. This is x to the x squared, this is x to the power 1, and this is x to the power 0. So, and each of the terms, it is associated with a coefficient. Now, how do you represent such an expression in data structure? Now, you can express this expression in data structure using two methods. First, you can use an array, and secondly, you can use linked list. Now, let me discuss the representation of polynomial using linked list method first. Clear? So first I am going to discuss how you can express this polynomial using linked list. Now when you are expressing a polynomial, let me write down the expression again. When you are expressing a polynomial, you should remember this variable term is not represented. This variable term is not represented. What you basically need to represent is the coefficient part and the exponent part. So, when you are representing a polynomial using linked list representation, each of these terms are represented in the nodes. So, the linked list will look like this. There will be a node that will be representing 4x square. There will be another node that will be representing 3x and another node that will be representing 5, and since 5 is the last term in the expression, this node will point at null. Clear? So, each of the term of the polynomial is represented in each of the nodes of the linked list. Are we clear? Now, how do you represent this term in a node? It is clear that we have to represent each term in a node. How do we do that? As I told you, the variable is not represented. What do we do? Each of the node of the linked list contains 3 parts. One part represents the coefficient of the term. The next part represents the exponent of the term, and this is the address part. So, each node contains 3 parts. First part represents the coefficient, second part represents the exponent, and the third part represents address of the next node of the list. So, which is the coefficient of this term? 4. So, 4 will be represented over here. What is the exponent part? 2. So, 2 will be stored over here. Now, this will point at the next node. The next node will also contain 3 parts. This part will store the coefficient of this term, that is 3. Exponent is 1 over here. So, 1. This stores the address of the next node. This node will also contain 3 parts. This will be the coefficient. This will be the exponent. I told you 5 means x to the power 0. So 0. and this will store null. Clear? So this is how a polynomial is represented using a linked list. Now suppose the polynomial is like this: 4x to the power 8 minus 5x square. How do you represent this polynomial? Again, there will be a node which will have three parts. This is the coefficient of this term, exponent is 8, address pointing at the next node. The coefficient part of the next node is minus 5, exponent is 2, and this is null. Now, this example I am showing you for letting you understand how you represent a negative term. When you have a negative term in your polynomial, you add that negative, you see this negative minus 5x square. So therefore, the coefficient of this term is taken as minus 5. So you do not have to represent this minus sign separately. When you write minus 5, this minus sign is automatically represented using this term of the expression. Clear? So therefore, how do we write down the structure? Struct poly. Let us name the structure of the polynomial as poly. Now, so long we have done linked list where we have taken only one data part. Over here there are two parts, right? Coefficient and the exponent. Now this coefficient can be floating point, so the exponent will be a float type of variable, coef, right? And exponent is positive or negative, but it is integer, so we will take int exponent. And struct poly star next, which will store the address part of the next node. So this is the structure for one node of a polynomial. And then, as we have done in linked list, we have declared a head node. For this, you declare a head node. You can declare the head node like this: P1. P1 will point at the first node of the polynomial. So when you declare a polynomial, you will make P1 point at the first node of your polynomial. So as a result, this P1 will lead you to the different nodes in the polynomial, that is representing each of the terms. Now, before I proceed into representation of a polynomial using array, there are two types of polynomials. One is dense polynomial, another one is sparse polynomial. Now, what do we mean by a dense polynomial and what do we mean by a sparse polynomial? When you have a polynomial like this, you see the highest exponent in this polynomial is 4 and the lowest polynomial exponent over here is 0. So, in this polynomial, the highest exponent is 4 and the lowest exponent is 0. So, if we look at the polynomial, inside this polynomial we have got terms which has got exponent 3, which have got exponent 1. So, all the exponents, most of the exponents starting from 4 has been covered in this polynomial. Highest exponent is 4, lowest exponent is 0, and all the exponents that are possible between 4 and 0, most of it is present in the polynomial. Exponent 2 is missing, but other than 2, 3, 1, most of the exponents are represented in the polynomial. So we call this dense. Now suppose a polynomial is like this. Now in this case, the highest exponent is 8 and the lowest exponent is 0. Now if we look at the polynomial, highest exponent is 8 and the lowest exponent is 0, and all the exponents which might appear in between two exponents, in between these two exponents, are not present. So out of the 9 exponents that are possible between 0 and 8, only 2 are present. So that's why we call it a sparse polynomial. So when most of the exponents of the range is missing, we call that sparse, and if most of the exponents of the range is present in the polynomial, then it is called a dense polynomial. Now when we are using linked list method to represent polynomial, it does not matter whether the polynomial is dense or the polynomial is sparse, because each term is represented using a node. So if there are 4 terms over here, we will require 4 nodes. There are 2 terms over here, we will require 2 nodes. So dense or sparse polynomial actually does not matter if you are using linked list to represent it. But when we are coming to the array representation of a polynomial, then dense and sparse polynomial does affect the way the polynomial is represented in the array. Why? I will just show you. Now this is one of the method of representing a polynomial using array. Say we have created a structure polyarray, and inside the structure we have created an array of coefficient which can hold 10 coefficients and an exponent that can hold 10 exponents. So basically this means that the polynomial that we can create using this structure can hold 10 terms. The polynomial that we will represent using this structure can hold 10 terms. Now over here I have declared a variable a of the type structure, a variable a of the type structure polyarray. Now suppose I want to represent this particular polynomial using the array a. Then how would I do that? Then a dot coef 0 will have the term -9 and a dot exp0 would have the value 0. So this term will be represented. Now to represent this term a, so when we represent the second term, then it will be represented as a dot coef 1, which is equal to 1, and a dot exp1, which is equals to 1, right? Similarly, when we come to the third term, it will be represented as a dot coef 2 is equals to 2, a dot exp2 is equals to 3. This fourth term will be represented as a dot coef 3 is equals to 4 and a dot exp3 is equals to 4. So this is how this particular representation will work, and using this array of coef and the array of exp, we would represent the polynomial. Now you should take into account that each index, suppose we are representing the first term, and if the first term is represented using the 0th index, then the coefficient and the exponent of this particular term 9 both should appear in the 0th index. It shouldn't happen that you represent the coefficient in one index and the exponent in the other index. In that way, you will lose the polynomial. So you have to represent both coef and the exponent both in the same index of array. Then only you will be able to represent one term of the polynomial. Right? Now, let us come to the second example. Now, in this polynomial, as we have understood, we can store 10 terms, right? Now this polynomial has got 2 terms. So what will happen? If we are representing this polynomial using a variable called a1, then a1 dot coef 0 would store 9, a1 dot exp 0 should store 0, a1 dot coef 1 should store 4 because this is 4 exponent, and a1 dot exp 1 should store the value 8. Right? Now you see there are only 2 terms and only 2 indices of the array out of the 10 indices has been used. Remaining 8 indices of the array that we have already taken is not used. Now, as we have already discussed in our class, array is a static representation. Array is static in nature. You always have to declare the size of the array before you are using it. So, no matter what, you have to declare the size of the array, of the coefficient and the exponent. Now size of the array has been taken as 10, but we are representing only 2 variables. So this is 2 values. So obviously it is a condition of underflow. We have stored more memory than we are using. So therefore you can understand from this particular exercise that it is not a wise decision to represent a sparse polynomial using this particular representation of the array. Right? So, excuse me, if we are storing a sparse polynomial using this process, then there is a high chance of underflow of the array. So therefore, we will change the representation when we are using a sparse polynomial. And how do we change the representation? For a sparse polynomial, we will take a structure, and inside the structure we will take a coefficient part and we will take an exponent part, and you see we will not make these as arrays. We will not take these two as arrays. We will simply take these as variables, right? And when we are declaring P1 over here, we will represent the number of terms we want to store. We will represent the number of terms we want to store over here. So we will take an array of structure. Over here we had array inside a structure, but if it is a sparse polynomial, we will take an array of structure. So in that scenario, what will we do with this? We will write P1 0 dot coef is equals to 9, P1 0 dot exp is equals to 0, P1 1 dot coef is equals to 4, P1 1 dot exp is equals to 8. So you see, over here we were not utilizing lot of memory space, but over here, though I have taken I have taken 5 as the size of the array. Out of those 5, I have used 2 spaces. So number of unutilized space has been reduced. So again, when we are representing a sparse polynomial, it is wise to take array of structure rather than declaring the whole array inside the structure. Now, coming to dense polynomial, there is another way dense polynomial can be represented. Struct polydense. Now, as I have already told you about dense polynomial, in case of dense polynomial, most of the terms with respect to the highest exponent is present in the polynomial, right? So with respect to the highest exponent, most of the terms are present. So what we can do is, we will represent float coef 10 as an array, but the exponent we will not take an array anymore. And what would we store in this exponent? In this exponent part, we will store the maximum exponent that the polynomial has. We will store the maximum exponent that the polynomial has. Now, how would that be beneficial? So you see, we are not using array in this exponent, so that is saving us space. Over here, in this representation, we were taking an array of 10 elements. So it was taking, if each integer is of 2 bytes, it was taking clearly 20 bytes of space. Over here, the space has been reduced to 2 bytes, right? And this 10 memory space for the coefficient was used before also, and it is there now also. So how will we represent the same polynomial using this method? When we have this same polynomial, in the exponent part, suppose the variable of this dense poly, we use a variable called p. Now p dot exponent will be stored as 4. Why? Because 4 is the maximum exponent of this polynomial. Now we will be in a loop for I is equals to 0, I is less than equal to 4, I plus plus. We will populate all the coefficients starting from 0 to 4. We will populate all the coefficients for all the terms from 0 to 4. Now, in that scenario, you will be confused, or you will be confused with this part, that the second exponent is not there in the polynomial at all. So what will we be doing with that? So coefficient 0, we have a 0th term, will be minus 9. Coefficient 1 will be 1, it is present. Now when we are coming to coefficient 2, that is where we have the doubt and the confusion. We will simply put that as 0, because 0 into x to the power 2 is obviously a value of 0, right? So putting an coefficient 0 will give me a 0 term which will not make any change to my polynomial. It will keep my polynomial as it is. P dot coef3 will be stored as 2 over here, and P dot coef4 will be stored as 4. So you see, the number of the memory required in this representation is much less than the memory required in the previous representation for dense polynomial that I showed. So this is a better way of representation, and since we have already statically said that we can store 10 terms for this polynomial, whether we store 0 as the coefficient or we store something else would really won't matter, because the memory will remain the same. The memory taken would remain the same. So these are the 3 ways a polynomial can be represented in data structure. 3 ways I showed you for the array and linked list, which is a simple representation. Using linked list, there is no variation because each node will be representing one term of the polynomial.